front of you is a resolution that approves the City of Pullman's use of eminent domain, or commonly called condemnation proceedings, for the purpose of acquiring property if necessary, which is necessary for the realignment of the Pullman-Moscow Regional Airport runway realignment project. As the Council well knows, through the many presentations given before the Council, the FAA has granted a project, if you will, with a estimated, conservative estimate, meaning hopefully the most expensive it could be, of about $119 million for this project. We have an 8.125% match. Thanks to the good work of our congressional representatives and the councils of both and mayors of both Pullman and Moscow. So it's about $109 million grant from the FAA for this project if it goes the full amount. So the FAA wants assurances from the two sponsors, and the two sponsors of the airport, according to the FAA or by FAA regulations, are the City of Pullman and the City of Moscow, because we jointly operate the airport. The City of Moscow and the City of Pullman both appoint the airport representatives to the airport board, and under FAA regulations, the sponsors must give approval to the use of eminent domain if necessary in order to move the project forward. Now, it's hoped that it won't be necessary, and since the property is in the state of Washington, the City of Moscow has no eminent domain authority. However, FAA regulations, we approve by resolution, or the Council approves by resolution, the use by the City of Pullman, which is located in Washington, and would exercise eminent domain if necessary, to utilize eminent domain for this project. So the resolution that you have before you approves that use of that eminent domain proceedings if necessary in order to move the project forward. The City of Pullman will be considering a similar resolution at their next meeting as well. I believe next meeting, Tony? So they will be looking at something just a little bit different. They approve the use of it, and of course they will be the ones exercising it if necessary. So with that, I'd stand for any questions, or if you'd like to hear from Tony.
Okay, well, this was heard before the Public Works and Finance Committee on May 31st, aren't you?
It was. So we heard it, ran through the rationale behind it, and thought that this is an appropriate action for the City Council to be taking.
I had asked some questions because I came on later to the whole process, and it had to do with what was the reason that the FAA required the change in the whole airport.
Why they're moving ahead with the realignment. Mm-hmm. I can certainly turn that over to Tony, who knows a lot more about it than I do.
We wouldn't want you to just come and sit there.
Tony, please state your name, your position, and where you live, and all those things for the record, sir.
Tony Bean, I'm the Executive Director of Pullman-Moscow Regional Airport. I reside in Pullman. You want the address for just Pullman?
That'd be fine.
Yeah, address is 1125 Southwest Alvar Street in Pullman, Washington. So the reasoning behind why we are doing the project is FAA required standards. Aircraft have gotten to the size that the runway and the taxiway for our airport are too close together to land that size of plane. So what we do right now, because we do not meet the separation requirements, which is a serious safety standard for the FAA, what we do today is when we're landing a large aircraft that needs that kind of separation standard, they essentially take up all the space. Nothing on a taxiway or a ramp gets to move until that aircraft is landed, taxied, and parked. So we do not have the capability to have two-way traffic at this time. That is a temporary exemption to a standard and allows us to meet the standard, but it hampers the ability to operate the airport. And with the growth in traffic between Alaska Horizon and as well as Schweitzer Engineering Laboratories, it's not a tenable future. And the FAA has stated that it's temporary. You need to solve your problem. This is one of the steps in receiving property necessary for the project to meet that requirement from the agency.
I appreciate that because there was a lot of talk just about the actual
The approach.
The approach.
Yes, and the approach is it's a benefit that's coming with it, but we're not doing the project because of the approach. We're doing the project because of a safety standard.
Okay. I appreciate that clarification.
Good.
Other questions for Tony while he's at the podium? Thank you, Tony.
Okay.
You're looking for a motion, Mr. Mayor?
I would move approval of the proposed resolution relative to the enabling Pullman to exercise eminent domain as necessary for the project.
Second?
Okay, we got a motion by Art and a second by Catherine to recommend approval of the proposed resolution for condemnation proceedings, approval for the city of Pullman. Everybody understand where we're at on this? Okay, I'll start with you, Walter.
Aye.
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 Okay. And so there